I would like to ask how you see, Itamar, how you see the linkage between the deities, the encantados, and the Catholic saints that you have described in your book.
Sim.
Sure. Well, the northeast of Brazil went through a very interesting religious experience. This was the first area that was occupied and populated. This is a place where the religious experience, it holds traces of this colonial past. Christian religion that came into our continent, but before that, we already had religious expressions and practices from the indigenous populations, beliefs from different ethnic groups, because it was not just one ethnic group. Many ethnic groups would live in the coastal area of the northeast of Brazil. And then we had the African diaspora after that. And this is a very powerful story, a very strong story,
E não chegaram apenas os
because it was not just people who came from these religions that consider souls. We also had enslaved Muslims that came to work. African Muslims came into Brazil as enslaved, and they were completely dispossessed of everything they had. You know the story, right? The transatlantic slave traffic. People came naked of everything, but they brought their experience in their bodies, in their minds, and in their memory. And they relived all that when they came to the American continent. It's not a simple story, it's a story of violence as well. When they would evoke on this memory, oftentimes they needed to sort of hide it because it was considered a crime. To this day, actually, African religions in Brazil, they suffer with prejudice. Their terreiros are invaded. Evangelic Christians, there's a tension. They say that this is evil, that this is a thing of the devil. And to this day, they suffer with that. But back then, much more. So in order to survive as a practice, as a religious practice and belief, oftentimes they had to adopt Catholic saints. But Catholic saints were actually invested with the qualities of the Orisha. So syncretism is very present in our everyday lives. So Saint Barbara, she's a Catholic saint. She's Jan's son in Candomblé, which is one African religion. Oxóssi is Saint George in Bahia, whereas in Rio de Janeiro, it's a different Orisha, it's Ogum. So for this religious practice to survive in an oppressed and violent and colonial environment, they had to adopt Catholic saints. And after something is mixed up, it's difficult to separate it again. There was one Yalorixá, is a priestess from Candomblé. She passed away a couple of years ago, Stella de Oxóssi. In her terreiro, she established a division. She says, well, for a while, Catholic saints were important for our belief to survive. Today, we have a voice. We don't need that anymore. And she tried to break away with that. But to this day, what still happens, this practice, which is still very popular, syncretism is still very strong. Religious experiences, they coexist for these people, not for the Catholic Church, not for the Catholic Church. They coexist for those who have faith in this. The religious coexistence, it does exist to this day.